Hello, everyone, and welcome to FSI's very first edition of European Tour Golf. We're bringing to you some DFS picks for the upcoming slate for the Joburg Open. As always, please like and subscribe our videos. It goes a long way in helping bring to you the content we love to do. This week is the 33rd of the 38th event for the European Tour. It is coming down to a close, but this is the first of 3 events in South Africa. Next year, I'm going to be jumping into European Tour full-time, as well as the PGA picks that we bring to you on Monday through Wednesday here at FSI. If you want to find those core plays and model projections and things like that, follow us at FSIDFS.com and on Twitter at FSIDFS, and you can follow me at TKNation47. So let's just jump right in. Like I had mentioned, this is the Joburg Open, played in Johannesburg, South Africa. It is played at Rand Park Golf Club, hosted the South African Open earlier this year. So I looked to that tournament for a lot of correlation in between, past results, and then I used some recent form and some strokes gained statistics that the European Tour is now following, which is changed since the last time I was into European golf DFS. So that was a breath of fresh air, jumping right back in. So this is a co-sanctioned event with the Sunshine Tour. That is a South African tour. This is, like I had mentioned, played at Rand Park Golf Club. There are 3 courses at Rand Park. This is played on Firethorn, which is the longest and the hardest. It has 6 par 4s from 450 to 500 yards, 3 par 5s, 4 par 3s. Recent course form was the South African Open, as I mentioned before. It is a par 71, 7,506 yards. Kikuyu grass as it's rough, which is known to be sticky and could be hard to play out of. This is definitely a course you want to be long and accurate off the tee, and you definitely are trying to hit your greens in regulation. The greens are undulated. I believe them to be like a bent grass POA. That's typically what you have in European golf. We got a lot of, we have most of the greens are big. Scores are usually between the minus 17 through minus 20 range. I think the course record is minus 27, set by Richard Stern in like 2013. It does have a stretch of holes. 16, 17, and 18, they call it Death or Glory. I just thought that was funny. Glory holes. Anyway, back 9 does have some water. The sweat will be a little sweatier, and the closing of the tournament will be a little harder. So you're definitely going to have to get guys that can score birdies in bunches, be long off the tee. But there are some holes on this course that are reachable. There is a drivable par 4, which is number 9. So if you are coming off of the back 9 first, and you're heading down into the stretch, and you need a birdie to make the cut, that par 4 ninth could be a beneficial hole for possibly showdown later in the week. But let's get into some picks here. Try to keep this short for you today. First, we'll start off with the betting favorite, Christian Bezuidenhout, $11,100. He's coming off a 38th place finish at the Masters, 40th at the BMW 2 weeks ago, 22nd at Memorial, and an 18 at API. Those are 2 courses that ask of you for long iron golf shots, and I think that's something that this Rand Park Firethorn course will need, especially if you can't carry the 320 to be able to hit wedge in. Not many golfers on the European Tour can. There are a few I'll talk about later, but Bezuidenhout does give us an opportunity for a lot of good recent form heading into a tournament where he is probably one of the more talented players in the field. I don't think he's necessarily a must for cash. I wouldn't consider him, to be a slam dunk of sort. And as we saw last week with Bryson DeChambeau, there are no locks in DFS golf. So anything can happen. I think 11-1 is steep for a guy where not much down in the 6K, 7K range is going to be, safe, so to speak. He did miss the cut at the South African Open this past year, so it could lead to a fade for me from Bezuidenhout. He is having the long travel from Augusta, Georgia, all the way to South Africa. He is South African, and 5 of the past 6 winners in South Africa, or for the Joburg Open, have been from South Africa. So typically they do play well in their home country, but I don't think Bezuidenhout is going to be a guy where I think I need to stretch my lineups for. We have Luton, Otegi, and Adri Arnaus. Those are 3 guys that are a staple on the European Tour, all capable of finishing in the top 10 or winning this event. I don't think any of those 3 guys are bad plays in GPPs. I don't think their price is too hard to get to. But the guy that I'm targeting here in cash games above 10K is Brandon Stone. He has won the Tishani Open and the Alfred Dunhill Links events in South Africa. This would complete his trifecta, quote unquote, for the South African tournaments. He's coming in with some recent form too as well. 16th at the Scottish Championship, 19th at the Scottish Open, and a 14th at the Portugal Masters. He did finish here T7 in 2018-2019 event, but he did miss the cut this past year. I still think Brandon Stone, brings to you a mixture of recent form, course form, and strokes gained statistic stats that really jump off the charts. I think he meshes well, and I'm already seeing guys laying bets down on Brandon Stone this week. He is the cover guy to the video, so Brandon Stone's going to be a highly owned player in this field. And then rounding out the 10K range, Matthew Jordan is a young guy who is capable of finishing in the top 10. I think he's not a bad play, but I'm just going to be stuck on Stone in this range. Next up, you have the 9K range. Marcus Artemage at 9.8 is top 20 in tee to green strokes gained statistics. He's got a 70 scoring average on tour, 4 straight finishes inside the top 20, and he is placed third last year. So Artemage, I think, is a solid play. Definitely going to be a GPP cash kind of play. Maybe if you can't stretch to Stone because there's a guy down in the value range that you need, I think Artemage is okay to settle on. Brandon Stone or Artemage, either one of them can finish ahead of each other. I don't think you can go wrong. Next up, we have Gavin Green at 9.4, 69 scoring average on the European Tour, and he's top 20 in strokes gained approach. I've seen him everywhere on the strokes gained statistics. Gavin Green is a European Tour staple. He has played this course before. He has not won the event, but I do think Gavin Green does pose a threat to place very high. A guy that I'm going to be heavily invested in is Garrick Higgo, a South African with a 69 scoring average. He's top 10 in birdies, and he's top 10 in par 5s. He grades out really well on this course. Most South Africans win this course. Most of the better South Africans win this course. And if Garrick Higgo is going to be one of them, he has a real shot at winning. I think he's going to be a solid cash game play at 92. Next up, we have the American at 91, Verman, 69 scoring average. Like I mentioned, he's top 20 in birdies, and he is top 15 in par 5 scoring. Vermeer seems to be jumping off the pages in strokes gained statistics, and he is kind of caught my eye is from a cash game and GPP standpoint as well. I would think Green, Higgo, and Verman are my favorite plays in this range to round out a lot of my lineups, and probably going to have some balanced approach with all 3 or 2 or 3, and then maybe one of Stone or maybe Juice Luton, and then one of these guys down in this range. Dean Burmeister is a European Tour staple as well. A bomber off the tee. He's kind of like a Bryson of the European Tour, but just not as efficient. He hits it about 330, and then he can putt, but he can't really do much in between. So his risk can sometimes outweigh his reward. With this 8K range, we have Wilco Nienaber, top 15 approach, top 10 in par 5s, really long off the tee, the longest off the tee in the European Tour statistics. Going to be someone I'm looking into as far as maybe like 2 or 3 out of 10 lineups. We have DeFeu is a guy who has played on the PGA Tour, young South African. I think he's going to want to make some noise on the European Tour. He's going to have to do it in his home country, and I think this would be a good start for him. So I think I'm going to have a small exposure to him. You have Sharma here at 86. I think he's going to garner ownership, being the last Joburg Open champion in 2017. His form looks a bit spotty, but Sharma is one of those guys where he comes and misses the cut or he wins. You have Louis de Jaeger. He's got a really high scoring average, and he jumped off the pages in the strokes gained models. He is also South African. Will Besseling as a Frenchman who at 8,400 is top 15 in tee to green, top 30 in par 5s, and top 40 in approach. He looked like he had a lot of good recent form coming in as well. There's Richard Stern at 82, two-time Joburg Open champion, but you have to question the recent form. Maybe a course that he's seen a million times doesn't really bother him. And then I think my favorite play in this 8K range is 8 Antoine Rosner. He is top 15 in approach and tee to green. I'm seeing his name in these the birdies and the strokes gained statistics. I think Rosner can set up really well here. He's got a lot of good recent form as well. And jump into the 7K range. Sean Crocker, Jayco Ehlers, Julian Suri, Jack Sr., Jaso Van Zley, these names, and Oliver Farr. I think Jack Sr. and Sean Crocker and Oliver Farr are my favorite plays in this range. I think there'll be some of the popular plays for the guys that are playing on the European Tour DFS circuit, the guys that play week in and week out. I think those are going to be some very popular names. Series a talent play at 7,500, although he doesn't come in with many top 10 finishes. And then Jayco Ehlers is a guy who came in 5th in the last South African Open Championship this past year. 6K, I like Nico Højgaard at 6,800. He's very long off the tee, 16th last time out in Italy, but he did miss this cut earlier in the year. I do think his recent form carries him this week. 6,600, I like two guys named Heaney Otto and Heaney Duplessis. Duplessis was top 10 last year, and Heaney Otto was T36. 6,400, Rees Enoch, very long off the tee, T36 last year, and he's made 3 of his last 4 cuts. But that'll round it out for me in the European Tour DFS picks for this week for the Joburg Open. Please like and subscribe to the video, comment below, and you can find us at fsidfs.com. Follow us on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at TKNation47. I hope you all have a good night.